Welcome back, host. Have a great show.
Hello, Dan.
Good evening. Good afternoon, Charles. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine,
Okay,
thank you.
look,
Are
we
we
got
on the air?
about no, we got about 2 minutes. It's just dead air right
Oh,
now.
okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so I'll put you back on mute and do an introduction, and we'll get
Sure, that's
rolling.
fine.
All right. Okay.
Hi, this is Charles Butler, host of the Reality Check with Charles Butler. What we try to accomplish on the Reality Check is to bring you information to make you an informed decision. Calling President Trump a racist, an admitted and an avowed white nationalist, and nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, I often constantly that C. Jackson gave Donald Trump a lifeline for helping Black Americans.
Well, welcome, folks, to the Reality Check with Charles Butler here at Red State Talk Radio. We are going to have a great guest with us today, Mr. Dan Perkins. You know, I enjoy having Dan on. He is so full of information, so full of what's happening today, and so far ahead of the track that other people are just lost in his way. And I appreciate him, appreciate what he does. He's an author, radio host, has a TV show. It's on television, even in China. So he is a busy guy, and I'm just glad he's taking some time out to spend with us this afternoon. Welcome to the show, Dan. How are you?
You there,
I am.
Charles?
I am here.
Did you hear me?
No, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you? No, you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. I said okay. So we talked a little bit before the program, and I'm thinking about something after you and I talked that stimulated a thought. So I'd like to kick it off the session with this new idea.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And you got to. I hope your audience can follow what I'm saying.
I'm sure they can.
I hope so. The truth to the Democratic Party is a lie.
What does that mean?
That means that the only thing that the Democratic Party can do is they can never tell the truth. They can only lie. They are inherently liars.
And why is that, Dan?
And all you have to do is look at all of the times that the news media, with its false narratives and its fake news, and time and time and time and time again, and they're still doing it 2.5 years into the president's term. They're still telling lies, not telling the truth. And it's like, and the Democrats, I'm going to give you an example. The Democrat candidate for president, Pocahontas, said to an audience this weekend,
right,
that the young man from
Ferguson,
the town in Missouri where Ferguson, the black man boy was murdered. Not what a jury decided in Ferguson. The jury decided that the police officer was defending himself, and he had already been attacked by this young man once before. So she can't tell the truth. It's like, give you another example, totally different subject, but same party, Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders told us for the longest time his health care bill was going to be the best thing since sliced bread.
Right.
It isn't only in the last 3 weeks that Bernie Sanders is now saying we're going to have to tax the middle class in order to help pay for it. And so he was lying to the American people all that time, and only recently did he decide he needed to tell, quote, the truth, whatever the truth is to Democrats.
Well, you look at Democrats, and you look at Barack Obama, and you look at Obamacare, for instance. These people came out 2 weeks ago and the Democrats viciously attacked Obamacare. These were people who were telling us this was the greatest thing since sliced bread, that the president did not lie, and that we would have better health care than we'd ever had before, and we were insuring more people. I mean, all of those things were false. They were falsehoods. And it was borne out by the Democrats' own party, these people who are running for office, as you pointed out, that the narrative is built on lies. So that Obamacare doesn't work, and we do need a new health care program, and it shouldn't be mandatory. You shouldn't have a mandatory penalty if you don't buy into a $6,000 deductible. Hello.
Right.
But we have some interesting things that are going on in the country. And you said something earlier that when we were talking earlier, that kind of piqued my interest. And
Thank you.
I was reading an article in the I think it was the New York Times, no, Washington Post, and this journalist,
They're the same.
This journalist who happens to be a black man said he was talking about what he learned at a picnic, at his family picnic over the weekend. And I thought it was interesting that so many people liked Mayor Pete Buttigieg, and even though I don't think they really know that he has a husband. And so they say they like him because he's straight talking, and he just comes straight
But
with
he's
it.
not straight.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So they said another relative. This is what this article says. This is another relative echoed that sentiment, describing Buttigieg as young and intelligent man who stands strong and is not apologetic. An implicit reference to Buttigieg being openly gay. The more one
Mhm.
person said, his being out meant that no one could hold it over him as a way to embarrass or hurt his candidacy. Uh, I certainly think it hurts his candidacy. We're not looking for a first man. Uh, it's- that's just, that, that just ain't gonna happen. Um, but it was interesting that even though these people may have liked Buttigieg and they liked other people a little bit, overwhelmingly they were going to stick with Joe Biden, and it wasn't because of his affiliation with Obama or his connection to Obama. They like Biden. I mean, but again,
He's a,
it shows you the lack of political sophistication in the black community when it comes to politics, when it comes to candidates, and I don't think it's grown any. I don't think it's grown any since the '60s. I think we had a real downturn in the '60s in terms of political awareness, political activism, and so-called black leaders convinced black people that they needed to vote as a block, and that block would be Democrat. And we have been going,
mhm.
and black folks have been going out of the world asshole backwards ever since. Um, but this young man, I thought the article was interesting because uh, one aunt said uh, one aunt said he said one aunt said something my mother said to me nearly a year ago, and that it's going to take a white man to straighten out this mess we're in. The way the system is set up now, there's so much racism that it's going to have to take an old white person to go after an old white person. Old school against old school. I mean, this is the
Right.
way folks are thinking, and I hear this thought process, um, and that's why people, I guess, are attracted to Biden because they think that somehow Biden will straighten things out. I don't think so. I think Biden and Obama messed things up, and Joe Biden hasn't gotten anything right in the last 50 years. Do you realize
Right.
that, Dan? He hasn't been
Oh,
on the right
sure.
side
I
of an
know that.
issue in 50 years.
He's been he's been apologizing for all the things he supposedly did wrong since he ran for this time for president. But I would say to you, um, I'm not. I am comfortable in my relationship with you as a friend and as a fellow colleague that I believe I can make the following statement.
Okay.
I believe that Joe Biden has already said the message in this campaign that will endear him to some in the black community.
What's that?
And that is the quotation. The quotation is, they're going to put you all back in chains.
I don't think anybody believed that. No one really believed that. People laughed
Oh,
at it when he said that.
I don't what they well, I see. I don't disagree with you that perhaps intellectually they disagreed with it, but I'm saying emotionally, those are incredible for the black community. Is in and in some cases the Mexican, Hispanic, and Asian community because they were all involved. That those stir up issues of long ago, and that's again going back to where we started the program, Charles. Democrats, the only truth to Democrats is a lie. They have to lie about everything. And you talked about Barack Obama. I thought it was fascinating. I may have my timing off a little bit, but the concept is fine. your former mayor, after the first night of the second Democratic debate, he said, if we don't stop this, we're going to lose 48 states. And he wrote to the Democratic National Committee and he said, this is insane. The American people are not going to buy the message coming out of those people on the stage. There's nobody up there that can win the hearts and minds and the votes of enough American people to get elected.
Was this Rahm Emanuel?
No, let me. Yeah, Rahm Emanuel. Yes, he did that. He wrote a letter to the Democratic National Committee and told them that this was insane. We should not be doing this. We're destroying the party. We're going to lose 48-2. But
and so I said the only
month later. What?
I said the only two states they're going to carry is New York and California.
Right, probably. Now, but as you pointed out just a moment ago, how the Democrats went after Obamacare. The next day, the Thursday after the Tuesday and Wednesday debate, he wrote another letter chastising the Democratic National Committee and the candidates. How dare you besmirch the most beloved president in the history of this country?
But he's not.
This has to stop. What did I say, Charles? The only truth to the Democratic Party is that they lie. That is the only truth. So whether or not it was true was irrelevant because what Emmanuel said, stop screwing around with my president, the most beloved president in the history of the country.
Well, I tell you,
it's not true.
No, it's not true.
Who cares? They don't care.
But this is. I was with two friends. I was with two friends this weekend, and these are very intelligent people, very politically aware, business savvy, just top notch people. And we're sitting having breakfast, and I mean, and I love these two people dearly. I mean, they're just a great couple. I love them. So,
but
no, there's no but. There's no but. So the woman said she was talking about an issue she was having at a company that she owns, where one of her employees wrote the chairman and the vice chairman of the company that gave her this contract, and he said in his letter, this is just a worker, just some worker, right? Some low level, worker bee, right? He said there will be consequences to hiring people like this. And I'm thinking to myself, I was so angry when I heard that. So they tried to blame it on Trump, right? It's like Trump and his rhetoric, his hatred, his that. So I started to try to reason with them, and I realized that they'd already drank the Kool-Aid, because remember what Goebbels said, and Goebbels took a page out of what's his name, Woodrow Wilson's book. And that is simply this, Dan. If you tell a lie loud enough and long enough, the people will believe it. That was Obama's constant message. Obamacare is great. Obamacare is going to be wonderful. He said it over and over again. He also talked
about, if you like your doctor, you can keep in doctor.
Yeah.
If you like your plan, you can keep your plan.
He also talked about, and all this stuff about DACA. We didn't have a DACA status until Barack Obama created it with an executive order, and he causes all these headaches. So, let's fast forward, and I'm thinking right now that, man, if we did not have Donald Trump in office, boy, we would have a mass invasion at the southern border. We'd have all kind of people running through our country. They have a new Guatemalan president, and he's trying to undo what the former president had done in keeping refugees from south of Guatemala from coming through into Mexico. Not working out for him too much, because he doesn't have the support of Mexico, one. And the Guatemalans certainly don't want those people from Honduras and El Salvador in their country. They have a serious pecking order. But, We have to stop at some point. We have to stop at some point and say what's best for the country. The only person, the only candidate that I heard say that was Donald Trump. The only person that I saw do that has been Donald Trump. I think that given Donald Trump's track record thus far, if it's based on his first 3 years in office, I can say this with all confidence. I think that Donald J. Trump will go down in history as one of our most effective, one of our most American oriented, one of our most driven, one of our most, our biggest turnaround president that was ever to occupy the Oval Office.
I wouldn't disagree with you at all. I think that history will look back over whether it's moving the embassy to Jerusalem, whether it's the overtures with North Korea, regardless of how it turns out, the renegotiation of trade all over the world, bringing the tax law into reasonable competitiveness that brought hundreds of thousands of companies back to the United States and hundreds of thousands of people finding jobs. When they set up the scale to determine what kind of a president Donald Trump was, I think I agree with you. He's going to turn out to be graded very high.
Yep.
But what's interesting, Charles, is that there are still a number of people who have distorted, and I think that's a fair description, distorted minds. And what I mean by distorted minds, they're living in a different world. The idea to suggest that Donald Trump should stop using Twitter with a media that's 93% biased against him. If he cannot defend himself by using Twitter, how will he? Twitter gives him the ability to have a direct relationship with the American voters. And I know the left doesn't like that, but he has over 120 million. He has more viewers when he tweets than all of the four major networks combined, all four combined. So because he does not have a friend in the media, especially the mainstream media, he's had to take directly to the people through Twitter and defend what he has to say. So when I look at that and I say, if you want him to stop tweeting, who's going to take over? Well, there's nobody there to take over that carries the command in the presence of Donald Trump. Number two, looking at that, one has to ask yourself, those of you who are concerned about the language that Donald Trump uses at his campaign stops or in Twitter are not living in the real world of the United States of America.
Right.
If you go into any neighborhood bar, any neighborhood school, elementary or high school,
right,
any social event, any sports event, you will hear the same type of language that Donald Trump is using. That's how our people in our country speak today. I don't happen to use a lot of profanity in I just don't do that. But my point is, that's what the people who have concerned about the country, that's the way they talk. And so it's important for him to talk, to share his ideas, and look what happened, Charles. Look what happened when Donald Trump pointed out the drug and rat infested city of Baltimore, Maryland.
Oh yeah, people rallied.
People were screaming at him that it was racist.
No, but the people in Baltimore said he's right. He's right. We need help.
Yeah, I know that.
We need to turn this city around.
Yeah,
we're tired of living. We're tired of living in terror. We're tired of our streets being dominated by criminals, and you won't put black men in prison because you're incarcerating black men. Our neighborhoods overrun with drugs and rats, and we pay the same taxes as everybody else. And this is what we get. To hell with the Democrats. I'm telling you, man, this president if Donald Trump does not get 25% of the black vote this time, I'd really be surprised, because I hear too many black people say to me, I don't like the way he says the things he says, but I'll be damned if I don't agree with 95% of them.
Right, right, and that's the issue, is that he speaks the common language of this country, whether you like it or not. He's speaking the common language, and when he addresses an issue, more often than not, what he says is true. It's true. And even Elijah Cummings, they found this. You notice that there's been no more discussion about Baltimore, none, because when they found the videotape of
Mhm.
Elijah Cummings, who was the representative in that district, talked about an infestation of drugs and rats in his territory 15 years ago. One easily asks the question, then what did you do for the last 15 years? Which is
Nothing.
really the question
Nothing.
that really the question that needs to be asked in the black community by Republicans. What have they really done for you?
Well, I used to
They've
say,
stolen your money.
all I can say is this. I used to I used when I was on the local station WVON, I used to always ask people to go and ask your representative, your alderman, your state rep, your state senator, your congressman, your U.S. senator. Only time Dick Durbin comes to the black neighborhood
Mhm.
is during election cycle, and that's only to run to the black churches where he thinks he can get votes. So they never see Dick Durbin, their senior senator these days, but they never have except during election
Mhm.
time. It was a big deal made about that the last time he ran, and he still hasn't. And I'm putting together a common sense coalition of Democrats and Republicans to go after the kind of politicians you're talking about, who show up with their chest stuck out. I'm a U.S. congressman, but what have you done? So what? That's your job. The question is, have you done your job? We don't need, just because you black, we need somebody who's in these positions doing a job. See, Barack Obama, he delivered for the people that he wanted to deliver for. The gays. Uh, I still can't figure out a guy who was backed by American Jews so heavily. I don't understand his relationship with Israel, because American Jews support Israel very, very, almost fanatically, and here Barack Obama was undermining Bibi Netanyahu. Oh, by the way, when
But
what we didn't mention, Dan, is all of the elections that Americans get involved with, that Americans tamper with. We
right,
bother kind of to neglect that
right,
when it was very clear
yes.
that Barack Obama bragged about trying to take Bibi out.
Hmm. But the issue is, to the question you raised about the conflict between Barack Obama and why the Jews supported him when he was so much anti-Israel. And I take no credit for it. The idea and the thought came from Rush Limbaugh, and he said, first of all, Jewish Americans are liberal first, Jewish second. So whatever, if the liberal philosophy is anti-Jerusalem, they're liberals first. They're going to support it, and and that's really the way it's been for the longest period of time. Now, Donald Trump did something that many presidents had promised they would do, but never did, and that was move the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem,
For hundred
and
thousand
did it in
dollars.
record time.
For $100,000, and he said
Right.
that it was going to be
Hmm.
10 times that much. Anyway,
Right.
but the guy says
So,
he's
so
incredible.
the mhm, agreed, and I think that it is amazing of how he picks an issue, the left explodes over it, he winds up being proven right, and they're sitting there, rather than apologizing for being wrong, they sit there and wait for the next opportunity to criticize him. And and the but what's changed, I think, what has changed that has me greatly concerned, Charles,
Mm-hmm.
is we have a Democratic Party who clearly is demonstrating that they hate America and they hate what we stand for, our Constitution, our flag, and our form of government. They hate it and they want to get rid of it. And that's, to me, the most scariest thing is that I have people, Cory Booker, don't believe Donald Trump should, what he did there. He said, I am the authority. I decide as a Democrat.
Everybody knows who Donald Trump is.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm listening.
So that
I was gonna.
So that no question. But the point is that he made the decision, and this is the issue. The issue is they decide. It's like the black congresswoman from Massachusetts, who's one of the squad members, who said, if you don't agree with us and what we say, you have no say. Well, that means there's no longer any freedom of speech, that the Democratic Party is in control of the thoughts of the American people. That's not what this country was founded for.
But that's
and
not.
So when Cory Booker said that Donald Trump should not be able to have campaign gatherings,
Mm-hmm.
he wanted to take away another right and a freedom under the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
That's the freedom of assembly.
Mm-hmm.
And so little by little, whether it's getting rid of the Electoral College or whatever they want to do, they're trying to destroy the Constitution, and they think it's what the American people want. I hope that they are rejected, as one Democratic nominee said, 48-2. I hope they're rejected 48-2. But even, and I said this to you earlier when we were discussing the show, I honestly believe if they get their ass whipped 48-2, they'll find somebody else to blame. It wasn't their fault.
Well, it's going to be, that
48-2.
Donald Trump had infiltrated their ranks. But I was going to play Biden. But, getting back to how these people think and what they think of us, let's listen to Michael Brzezinski a year ago.
And I think that the dangerous, edges here are that he's trying to undermine the media, trying to make up his own facts, and it could be.
This is Micah on Donald Trump during the election.
That while unemployment and the economy worsens, he could have undermined the messaging so much that he can actually control exactly what people think, and that is our job.
Yeah, if you look at the
that thunder that was in my. I mean, she said, "We tell you what to think." She was serious as a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
And this is.
Oh yeah, and so does the squad. The squad is very serious. We're going to tell you what's important and what we're going to do about it, and you're going to go along with us. That's just the way it is.
And if you don't, you're a racist.
So you're a racist. I have something I want to say there. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking to you as a person who was involved in the civil rights movement a long time, helped desegregate the Columbus Public Schools, served on the Central Ohio Civil Rights Council, has fought for Black people's rights as long as I've been an adult.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that the equivalent word to racism and racist that's being applied by the Democratic Party today is equivalent to the use for generations of the N-word.
Well, I think that that the use of the term racist is being used by people who have never been called the N-word, so they really don't know what racism is. It's like when Jimmy the Greek said that, football was being occupied by all these big black men, and the only place for a white man would be in coaching. He wouldn't be able to play on the field with these big black men. I mean, Jimmy the Greek said that. They fired him talking about he had racist comments. I don't think he was racist at all.
Yeah, he was basically telling the truth.
Yeah, he was definitely telling the truth. And the thing about it is, black people weren't angry with him. These are white people who decided that what he said was racist. And it really wasn't, because you could.
They just let me put it a different way, though, Charles. If white people decided about what black people should think about what was said,
right?
Not that they cared what they thought. They decided that this is how black people should think and act based on what was said.
Mm-hmm.
They took away the free will and freedom of speech from black people because the real white racists decided what was going to happen.
Now, I'm looking at, you had mentioned earlier that Rahm Emanuel had said Barack was the most beloved president in the U.S. One of our listeners, Juanita Rayomi, she said Obama is the most beloved president in the U.S. I replied, sorry, he's not beloved by the military nor black folks with his LGBT swagger. So it's true, man. I mean, I'm just telling it like it is. Like I'm sure Juanita thinks she's telling it like it is. But I can tell you, man.
So let me. He wasn't. It isn't. But let me tell you what. Let me tell you what I did this morning on a radio show, and I want to tell you that the host laughed so hard. He said, "If you're right, and you could be about what I'm about to say, the greatest thing ever happened to the Republican Party in the history of this country." So here's what I said: to be with enough vote in the Democratic Party to win the nation on the first or second ballot.
I agree with that.
And so we're going to have a brokered convention. Now, I'm going to put in my one caveat. And my one caveat is, unless she's in an orange jumpsuit, I believe that the far left of the Democratic Party hates the moderate to the near right of the Democratic Party, and the moderate and near right of the Democratic Party hates the far left. Both sides hate Hillary Clinton, but they'll compromise for her. They'll compromise on her.
Yeah, they do.
Why? Because I've written, it's not because I've written it, but I've written that the Democratic Party is the party of victims. And the ultimate victim in the Democratic Party is Hillary Clinton.
Yep.
They still believe that the Russians, no matter what Mueller said, that the Russians stole the election in cooperation with Donald Trump. Now, with that said, I want to go back and say there's a whole bunch of other caveats. We have right now 4 investigations going on in the Justice Department. We've got the Inspector General, who is looking at the FISA application process and see whether it was abused. Then we've got the gentleman from Colorado, the attorney,
right,
a U.S. attorney for Utah, who's looking into the Clinton email situation. Then we've got our friend up in Connecticut who's looking at the Clinton Foundation and what happened there. And then we've got Barr himself looking at it. Now, I think that these things are all going to come out, and they're all going to be extremely damaging involved. But there's going to be a question, Charles, that's going to be raised.
What's that?
And the question is going to be, what did Barack Obama know? When did he know it? And what did he do about it? There may be enough evidence that a grand jury will indict the former president of the United States. And Donald Trump will go on the air, broadcast from the Oval Office, and he will say to the American people, in order to bring this nightmare to an end, so we can go on our way and get focused on what is the best thing for the country, I'm going to pardon Barack Obama.
Okay.
I don't think the Democrats have anything to say.
I think
because at that moment in time, what?
Obama's going to go back in that.
You think what?
Barack's going to go in that room, and he's by himself, and this guy, he's a totally different, in my opinion. I think he's being totally different as president than post presidency as he was being president. I think he was trying to be too presidential and really didn't get a lot accomplished. But I think that sooner or later, as you pointed out, the Democrats are going to have to come clean. When they come clean, it's just going to be just like you said. They can only lie what they intend to do. And the American people aren't buying it. The American people aren't taking the race bait. They're just not doing it. See, I don't argue with people anymore. I don't argue with people anymore about those things. Like with my two friends, I decided that they had already drank the Kool-Aid, that Donald Trump was a racist, he was a white supremacist. And I just, I feel bad because, like I said, these people are, they had, caps on the gas tank. Wow.
So the catharsis that we have to go through a nation to eliminate the hate, or try to eliminate the hate and bring us back together as a unified nation, and radical left, the communists and the socialists,
right,
and let us get back to being America, is the indictment of the most beloved president in the history of the nation.
Yeah, well, I think that, like I said before, Donald Trump, they really hate Donald Trump. So I was coming back from the airport yesterday, and I was riding public transportation because I just didn't feel like driving, and I certainly didn't feel like spending $100 on a cab or limo. So I decided to get on public transit. It was right there. So I hop on public transit, head downtown, and I'm kicking it, And I spoke to a couple of people and a couple of ladies, and this one lady, we got into a conversation. She's a CTA, Chicago Transit Authority employee. So we were talking, and she started telling me how she hated Trump. And I mean, her face, her demeanor, and it was like an innocent man. It was just scary. The transition when she started talking about how she hated Trump. And I said, well, I didn't say anything at first. I just let her talk about Trump and the immigrants and arresting people. And so she asked me, she said, well, what do you think about Donald Trump? I said, well, I love him. Man, it was like I had taken a pail of ice cold water and thrown on this woman. So we went back and forth for about 5 minutes. And I guess she saw that she wasn't changing my position, nor was she going to change mine. I told her we didn't need any more illegal immigrants. We need to send the ones we have back so we can have more jobs for Americans. And she said, well, why do Americans need those jobs? I said, she's Puerto Rican now, right? She says, why do Mexicans need those jobs? Let's give those jobs to someone coming up here from Mexico to have a better life for themselves. I said they should stay in the areas that they're in and have a better life for themselves. That's how it works. That's how it works.
And what did she say?
Nothing. She just quit talking to me because I wouldn't budge. I mean, there's nothing that she could say about Donald Trump that affected me. I mean, she said, well, he's a racist. I said, well, give me an example. Well, I can't give you an example, but they say he's arrested. I said, well, I can give you examples where he's not. So, okay, next question. He's a white supremacist. How is he a white supremacist? Because white supremacists support President Trump. White supremacists supported Ted Kennedy. White supremacists stood in the doorway with Bobby Kennedy. They knew each other. I mean, that's how Shoemake got involved with the. Come on, Shoemake got involved with getting a charter home with Mayor Daley, because he knew me.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, I hopped in the rack behind the pilot's station, stretched out, and I called some Z's, baby.
So let me ask you a question. We've got a little bit of time left. We've got about 12 minutes. What is it? Is there anything Donald Trump, because I saw a survey within the last 2 weeks of Donald Trump's popularity in the black community.
Right.
32%.
Okay. It's very
32%
high.
is
That's
what
very
I saw.
high. Very high.
So, incredibly high. I have been told by people in the black community that if Donald Trump would get close to 20% of the black vote, he would be unbeatable as president.
He's definitely going to be unbeatable. He's going to get that. He is.
Well, but
go ahead, finish.
I'm sorry. Let me ask the question.
Okay.
What else does he need to do to move something north of 20, or is it even possible?
I think it's definitely.
Are we saying that 80%?
I think it's definitely possible.
My racist, bigoted question: are we saying that 80% of the black people are so biased against white people, Republicans, and Donald Trump, they will never vote Republican or for Donald Trump?
Yeah, that's exactly right. But I think we're witnessing something here with Trump that we witnessed with Blue Dog Democrats, and that we're witnessing with Democrats like for Reagan. This thing with Donald Trump is a phenomenon. The thing about Trump is he may run in the Republican Party, but when you listen to him and you listen to what he's saying, he's not talking conservative this, conservative that. He's not talking Republican Party this and Republican Party that. He's talking about programs to make America better all the way around. It doesn't appear to me anyway that he's pandering to a conservative way of life or conservative views. He's pandering to the majority of American people. If you ask me, Charles Butler, when I'm looking at this objectively, and that's the only way I can really look at it is objectively. And I don't see Donald Trump zeroing in on white supremacists or old white men or young white men or old white women or young white women or blacks or Latinos or anyone else. What I see him talking about is an inclusiveness in that we're all Americans. And he's not playing, race politics. He's saying, hey, what I do will help you, Mr. Individual. I'm not, I'm not promising all blacks or all gays or all Chaldeans or all Latinos or all white people over 70 that I'm going to do something for you. I'm going to do what's right for Americans, and that's it. I mean, so when I'm looking through New York Times about these policies that Trump is implementing to make it harder to get a green card. Well, who does that help? Poor people. So, but this is how the New York Times, this is how they wrap it. They say that Trump is hurting minorities. Trump is hurting minorities. Where was that at? They said Trump is hurting minorities. So I read the article. I'm going, wait a minute. Seems like to me, he's helping minorities. He's making it harder for the people who are competing for those jobs to get green cards to legally work in those jobs.
True. So, in the few moments we have left, I would like to go in a different direction.
Okay, hit it.
Okay. Charles Butler. We're going to assume that Donald Trump wins re-election, and we're going to have 5.5 more years, almost 6, of Donald Trump to govern. Who follows him?
Now that is a good question because it's not going to be Mike Pence.
Thank you.
Mike just doesn't have the personality. Mike just never had the personality.
The operative word there in what you just said, personality. So whoever follows Donald Trump, in Charles Butler's mind, first and foremost, has to have personality. Right?
Yeah, his or her own personality, and not necessarily be another Donald Trump, because there isn't another Donald Trump, but the person following him has to be candid and, like Trump, not focused on identity politics, not focused on, and when I say identity politics, I'm talking about groups, whether it's the NRA or AARP or what, Trump talks about, and he does things, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, but I just don't see the identity connected to the things that he does. He just does things that he thinks best for the country and best for
country.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I see. And so maybe I'm reading these things wrong, but that's what I see. Like this weekend, I was sitting down, gathering some thoughts and reading some papers and reading art, going, through some things on my iPad. And it just dawned on me that when I listen and look at Donald Trump after I had breakfast with my 2 friends who I love dearly, but who are convinced that Donald Trump is a white supremacist and is encouraging white supremacist views, I said, I just don't, maybe I'm missing something. And so I had to go and kind of refresh and revisit some areas, and I just don't see it. I don't see the identity politics. What I see is a guy who's trying to make cities safe, give people in cities a better quality of life, the same quality of life that people in the suburbs have. And whether it's through policing or policies, he wants it to happen. He wants it to happen now.
Yeah, I've given my question some thought, and I look at the scene of who's out there, who is not so much Trump-like, but somebody who is compassionate, who seems to be honest, addresses the issues, yet has been a proven leader, does his homework, not afraid to ask hard questions. And that's the congressman from Ohio, who's the ranking member on the House Judiciary Committee.
You're not talking about Tim Ryan, are you?
No.
Who are you talking about? Jim Jordan?
Give me a second. I can see his face.
Well,
I'm drawing a blank.
Okay. We got about. Go ahead.
So I think he's young enough. He's got enough experience. He's very intelligent. He speaks well. He has a pretty good voice in terms of projection. Never wears a jacket. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find him. He's part of the Republican Conservative Committee.
Mm-hmm. When you want these,
there we go.
Who is it?
When you want them, you can't get them. They just don't.
Yeah, they won't pop up.
Doesn't.
So who is it? Do you know?
No, they won't. And I'm looking. Give me a second. But go ahead. I think that. Meadows is another congressman. He's in the House.
Well, look, while we're waiting on that, William Barr has criticized some major irregularities in the Epstein case, and at the jail. He is really pissed. I saw him about
Jim Jordan.
Yeah, that's what I said, Jim Jordan.
Yeah. You said Tim Ryan.
No, I said at first I said Tim Ryan, then I said Jim Jordan. That was my second guess.
Jordan is the guy.
Yeah.
Right.
I have Jordan on.
So, but this is the question really becomes. You raise an interesting question. Where does Barr go with that? Where does he go with that?
Well, he's pissed. He's going to hold people at the facility accountable. He just said that.
I saw that, but you didn't answer my question. Holding them accountable. It's like, here's the question. Same church, different pew. Last Thursday night, when they released the 302s from the Justice Department people who were interviewed, and Sean Hannity had a panel, and he had Sarah Carter, and he had the guy from the former prosecutor from the Southern District of New York, whose names escape me at the moment.
Hold one second,
other people. And he asked the question.
Dan, hold one second.
The question was.
Dan, hold one second. Hey, folks, we're at Red State. We're going to sign off, but Dan and I are going to keep talking over on Facebook, Charles Butler Conservative, and YouTube, which is Charles Butler or C Butler 52. So you can get us at either one of those because we're going to finish up here. We're just running out of time. Go ahead, Dan. We're good.
So what we're talking about is we're talking about what's going on in New York, and we're talking about Barr and what is he going to do about it? And I know he's upset, but what can he do about it? The court assigned him to this particular facility, and the facility had the responsibility of providing for his care. But apparently the guards didn't make the watch, and the cameras somehow got turned around. There's a lot of ifs and ands and whats and buts about what happened to him. But over Drudge over the weekend, was this another notch on the gun for Hillary and Bill, eliminating a problem for them by getting rid of him, so he can't open up and testify against Hillary and Bill.
Yeah.
And so it comes back to the situation. What's going on in our country? I mean, if the cameras were turned out as opposed to being turned in to see what was going on in the cell, maybe I'm being too long. If the cameras were pointed out, nobody has said there was any evidence of anybody else coming into the cell from the cameras. Because if they were pointed out, you would see somebody coming in through the door. No cameras so far have shown that anybody came in during the time that he supposedly committed suicide. So I don't know how he did it, if he did it. The autopsy preliminary was performed and the medical examiner determined what the cause of death was. So they are bringing in another outside expert to perform a second autopsy to try and figure out what's going on.
Right.
But I guess the problem is that this is disturbing, because is this another example of the deep state protecting more Democrats and important Democrats, including the former president, than it is worried about Republicans? And I don't know how Barr gets to an answer to that. I really don't.
I don't either.
But anyway, so the point on Hannity last week is that these four panelists, after the 302s came out from Orr, they spent the whole hour talking about it. At the end of the show, Hannity says to the four people on the panel, "Do you think anybody will go to jail?" Sarah Carter said yes, but the retired Southern District of New York U.S. attorney said, "Now listen," he said, "I'm not sure." How could some Democrats not go to prison? How can an investigation as to what happened here that would implicate the director of the CIA, the director of the Justice Department, the director of the FBI, and other agencies all working together to create this situation? How can the Democrats get away with this with nobody being even tried?
Well,
And the guy from the Southern District of New York said he wasn't sure, not sure.
We'll see.
So are we going to allow these people, Comey and everybody else, to get away with trying to overthrow the government elected by the people? Nobody's going to get. I mean, look at the people that have gone to jail under Mueller. Have nothing to do with the Russian collusion issue, because there was no Russian collusion. They got them on crimes other than anything to do with the Russians. Yet, how is it? And that's why I'm wondering, when we talk about all these investigations that are coming out, will be coming out between now and probably the presidential election, how is it possible that people in the Democratic Party who were in positions of power and influence, nobody gets indicted? Is that the reality of the deep state?
No, I think that people are going to do jail time. I think that you have to build your case, and you have to stick with your case. And then when they sit down with the accused, they'll cop a plea and go on about their business. Well, Dan, we have.
But Charles, I believe. Can I make one quick statement?
No, I'm good. But
are we already off?
Yeah, we're off.
I just want to say. I just want to say that I really believe that when people start asking the questions, serious questions, and reporting on the leader of the FBI and the Justice Department and Central Intelligence Agency, all these people who are all direct appointments of Barack Obama, how anybody can do a thorough investigation and not raise the question, what did Barack Obama know, and when did he know it? That has to be asked, in my opinion. And that's where I come back to this, the story that I gave you. I think he's going to wind up being pardoned by Donald Trump. And it will be the greatest, I believe will be the greatest moment of personal satisfaction for Donald Trump, to be able to know that he pardoned Barack Obama and kept him out of jail. Obama will be forever in the debt of Donald Trump for not having him to go through a trial and go to jail.
Well, I could care less. I don't care if the president goes to jail. He needs to go to jail. When I was trying to share with you when we were talking earlier, that one of my listeners wrote in Facebook, Obama is, in capital letters, Obama is the most beautiful. It's America's most beautiful. What do you say? Yes, that means he's from
Crook.
Yeah, so he says that Barack Obama was the most beloved president in America, and I said, no, he's not. The military didn't like him, and I know a lot of black folks didn't like him. So, I mean, hey, this guy was not beloved. That's the image they tried to generate. Just like Michelle running for president. I said, what makes Michelle qualified to run for president? Because she was married to Barack? And basically,
Yeah.
basically people say,
Remember when I said when we started the show, the biggest truth about the Democratic Party is they are liars.
yeah.
They're unable to ever tell the truth. So whether it's true that Michelle would run, she's not, but they'll lie about it to distract people away from headlines that might implicate the president or somebody else. I'm just saying that they have a history of not being able to tell the truth. And that's where they are. And we already stayed way too long on the show.
Yeah, we did.
As always, it's a pleasure to be with you.
You too. Thank you so much for staying with me, man. Appreciate it. It's up on YouTube and Facebook, so
You're welcome.
Folks can go out there and check it out. Thanks again, Dan. We will be
back
next week.
We'll talk again. Thank you.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.
Take care, brother.
You too, brother. Dan Perkins, my guy. Hey, look, I want to cover couple of quick things. Shut down, Brennan. With his defending, put your politics before us. Oh, wow. Okay, so I am going to go back over here, and what I'm going to do is to hopefully pull out a couple of clips. This lady said some things the other day. They just really bothered me because they were so evil, so heinous. It just, you say, well, how can people be so vicious, be so mean? This lady said, just stab Mitch in the heart.
Murder, turtle! Bitch, we know you're home! You, your wife, everything you stand for. Hopefully somebody out there with some voodoo dolls in these. Yeah, somebody is. That's probably what it is. Just stab the in the heart, please.
Wow. Stab him in the heart, please. Somebody needs to go to jail for making that threat. Somebody needs to be talked to by the FBI for making that threat. It's getting dangerous out here. I remember the man who threatened Maxine Waters. He got 4 years. Somebody threatened Barack Obama after he left presidency. He got 4 years. Where are the Republicans when it comes to stepping up and prosecuting people who threaten to kill Republicans and threaten to shoot Republicans? This lady, with her video that she hoped went viral, which will lead people right back to her. Mm-hmm. She should have a chat with the FBI, at least. I mean, it's scary to think that people have such strong feelings that way that they want to put a knife in someone's chest. Lord. But, I'm not going to talk about guns today. I'm not going to talk about gun violence. We'll do that later in the week. But what I'm going to do is to sign off and come back tomorrow. We'll be ready. I can tell you, we'll be rip roaring ready to get down to what it is you want and need to do. So thank you. Thank you for tuning in. It's Charles Butler signing off. Reality Check on Red State Talk Radio. Right. Sign off now. See you tomorrow. See ya mañana. Okay. All right. Here we go. Hey. Good. How you doing? Oops, all right. Yeah, I went. Yeah, I went. Yeah, it was too much fun.